Now, I've rewritten this episode not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 times on how the Atlanta Falcons are locked in for another lost season, in which they are, as they are now 3-6 and lost their fourth straight game against the Indianapolis Colts in Germany. Let's call it for what it is. The Atlanta Falcons are a broken organization with an established losing culture. The Falcons screw themselves in games when it matters the most. The Falcons dropped their fourth straight game against the Indianapolis Colts 25-31 in Germany in an overtime game that shouldn't have happened in the first place if the Falcons cared enough to put this game on ice. The Falcons now sit at 3-6, the worst since 2020, as their season and playoff hopes are just about over. In which, technically, they're all over. The Falcons have shot themselves in the foot more than once this season. They are their worst enemy. The Falcons shouldn't even be 3-6 with the roster they have. Raheem Morris is a certified loser, as his head coaching record clearly explains that. Morris is 32-52 with a .381 winning percentage. How pathetic. He should have been given the axe last season when that 2024 season was thrown away when he started off 6-3. When the Falcons started off 6-3 and then it was a trickle-down theory right afterwards. Zach Robinson is a terrible offensive coordinator as he is setting Michael Penix Jr. up for failure. And the rest of the offense for failure as well. The defense led by Jeff Ulbrich is the only bright spot this season, considering how exceptional the rookies are playing. But over the last couple of games, they have taken a step back since their last victory against the Buffalo Bills on Monday Night Football, as it was inexcusable for them to let Jonathan Taylor mow over them for 200 plus yards in the game-winning touchdown for the Colts this past game that they just had. To be honest, with the rest of their schedule remaining, I can't see the Falcons winning any more games this season. Even with the games the Falcons could be heavily favored in. Out of their last remaining games, NFC West opponents like the Rams and Seahawks will be the toughest on the remaining schedule, and the Falcons will definitely not win those games in my book. They're not sweeping the Saints. They're not beating the Bucs in Tampa. Their next game against the Panthers could be a toss-up, as the only games the Falcons could potentially win will be against the New York Jets and the Arizona Cardinals. Both of those are road games. The Falcons could have took care of business early on in the season, but didn't, because the team simply can't seal games or hold a lead. A repeated cycle that's been their MO for the last almost 10 years. Considering that this is not related to this episode, but we need to talk about Arthur Blank, Rich McKay, and the higher-ups. Arthur Blank's way of establishing a quote-unquote winning culture by hiring retreads is not the recipe for success. It's rather the other way around. Blank needs to ask himself this question. What am I doing hiring losers that happen to be my buddies? Raheem Morris was nothing but a buddy hire, and Blank and Rich McKay knew that when they were interviewing coaches back in 2024. When there were more credible options out there, Arthur Blank and Rich McKay decided to go for the cheaper option and bring back Raheem Morris, who was the interim head coach before then in 2020, before he became defensive coordinator for the Los Angeles Rams a year later. And he was the Tampa Bay Bucs head coach many years ago, where he absolutely sucked and only had one winning season there. Raheem Morris is a poor excuse for a head coach. He just sits there and chews gum all game, and he sucks at managing the clock. And of course, we're almost to the end of the season, and Arthur Blank is not going to fire Raheem Morris. We already know that. Hell, he may give him another chance next season, only to let the fan base down once again with how the way he coaches the Atlanta Falcons. Before I close, I'll say this. Honestly, either way, the Atlanta Falcons are locked in for another lost season, simply because Raheem Morris is a loser and the team can't win games they have the upper hand in, almost 90% of the time. The Falcons haven't been in the playoffs in almost a decade, as the cycle continues with losing in back-to-back seasons. I feel bad for those players that they have because they're going out there and giving it their all. And if these same players was to be on another team, they would be successful 80% of the time because those teams either have that system that they're familiar with or they can create a system that fits the players' abilities. The Falcons don't have none of that. They're a team that lacks identity. And it's been the same song and dance since 2017. Different head coaches, same mantra, same catchphrases, and will always embrace the suck. And that's exactly what the Falcons have been doing for the past 10 years. That 28-3 cloud is still over that team's head. They can't get themselves out of that. I find it funny that the Patriots game, they trolled them so hard with it because it's true. They can't move on from that. They are stuck with that mentality for the rest of their lives as long as that team is active. That's going to be it for this NFL edition of the Eli Speaks Show. Let me know what you guys think about my take about the Atlanta Falcons zeroing in on another lost season because Raheem Morris is nothing but a loser and the team can't get out their own way. Let me know what you guys think. And as always, please like, comment, share, subscribe, and thanks for listening.